So guys, before we get into the video I've got for you, let's quickly take a look at these headlines. This one says, America cannot defeat us, and if they insist on fighting us, we are more than ready to confront them. Northern Islamic cleric, there's Trump and the US Army, the US military. So guys, you can see the audacity of these people. None of them come out to condemn the terrorism that is ravaging the north. But when they hear America is coming, when they hear Israel is coming, they will start raising their voices. You see that America is coming to end terrorism, but this northern cleric is saying that America cannot defeat us, and if they insist on fighting us, we are more than ready to confront them. That's what he was telling his audience, and you know what that means. He's just inciting his audience. Now, talking about insecurity, you may have heard that ISWAP has executed 27 people in the last 1 to 2 months. 27 people have been executed by ISWAP in Borno and Yobe. They go to people's houses and pick them. People they believe are, are reporting them or are serving as spies to the Nigerian military. They pick them and take them in for interrogation, and then they execute them. So guys, and you see a northern leader, a northern cleric is here saying, if America insists in coming to Nigeria, that they are going to fight back. So guys, talking about the level of insecurity in Nigeria, here is this Southern Kaduna guy. This guy you are seeing is a Southern Kaduna guy who tried to defend himself in Kaduna against the terrorists that invaded their community. Guess what? News says he has been executed. Anybody that kills the Fulanis risk being executed. Now, let me read the headline that came with this image, just for you to understand the story behind his execution. It says, breaking report reaching me has it that a Kaduna High Court has sentenced Victor Solomon, popularly known as Zidane, to death by hanging for murder. Zidane was arrested by the Rufai-led government in 2018 for defending his Adara community against Fulani terrorist attacks. He was charged for murder in 2 different state high courts, while one of the courts acquitted him of the charge, while the other now condemned him to death. So guys, you can see he tried to defend his people. He was being, condemned to death. And it reads further, why should same charges be filed in 2 different state high courts? This is another case of self-defense getting the death sentence in Nigeria. In October 2025, I visited Zidane in Kaduna prison, where he assured me that since one court has acquitted him of the same charge, the other will do the same. Zidane was wrong. He believed too much in the compromised judiciary, where judges dish out sentences based on the accused's faith. If you are a Christian in the north, you may hardly get justice. So guys, we have seen a northern Islamic lawyer who was saying, even if court acquits one of the persons, one of the accused, that they will ensure justice is still rendered to him because he spoke blasphemy against their Muhammad. A barrister, a lawyer, was saying even if the court acquits him, they will still not let him go free, that he's going to pay for blasphemy. So guys, that tells you what we are saying. The Sharia law is taking its effects in almost everywhere. I mean, it is very active. The judiciary is now the constitution is being trampled upon, while the Sharia law is what is dominating in the north. And now see this guy who stood up to his people, to defend his people. Maybe in the process of that, one of the attackers, the Fulani terrorists, one of them may have died or so. Then he was arrested and locked up in prison, and then it's now being said that he has been sentenced to death. So guys, that tells you what we are going through in this country where 2 laws are taking effect. Now, this person posted this, and I felt I should share it with you. This northern Nigerian school girls in the north in 1966, when everywhere has not been Islamized. This is a picture of beautiful school girls in northern Nigeria, in 1966. But today, this is what the girls in northern Nigeria look like, because everywhere has been Islamized, and that is the target, to Islamize everywhere. You may have also heard that terrorists attacked in Oyo State, that is Ibadan. They went to a park and killed some people there, they came out from the bush. That's to tell you that everywhere has been invaded. So guys, let me quickly show you how some Nigerians are reacting after this guy was sentenced to death by hanging for defending his community against Fulani terrorists. Now this person says, so we have another hashtag to trend. The Fulani Islamic terrorists have very strong grip in on Nigeria leadership positions, and it keeps manifesting in different forms. You will now begin to understand why external powers like the US and Israel are important in defeating this beast and setting the indigenous occupants of Nigeria free from the terrorist operation. And this other person here reacted saying, question is, how did a small group of psychotic Fulani people who are not even indigenous to Nigeria have this much power, control over a nation of many nations? And what are the real Nigerians going to do about it? I mean, the Fulanis have taken over everywhere, and you can see how they are rendering the judges. I mean, the Nigerian courts. Can you imagine that Sunday Jackson's case was taken to the Supreme Court, and the Supreme Court upheld it that Sunday Jackson should be sentenced to death? So, guys, thank God that Donald Trump intervened. Thank God for the U.S. Congressman Raymond, who also intervened. Thank God for the U.S. If not, Sunday Jackson would have gone and gone forever. Now, the same thing is happening to this guy. We almost raise our voices, you know. Now, this person say, how many terrorists have they sentenced? They keep telling us that they have repented. Why is our judicial system acting this way? They don't sentence the Fulanis. They don't even prosecute them. See all the killings in Benue, in Plateau. None of these Fulanis is serving any jail time. But if a Christian in the north dares defend himself against the Fulani, and the Fulani dies, you are dead, you are dying. The Fulanis have really conquered this country. Now, this person here said, the corrupt Supreme Court has set a precedent on Sunday Jackson's case. Now, the lower courts will be used by the jihadists to kill our brothers who defend themselves against Fulani militias. The Supreme Court upheld that of Sunday Jackson, and that is what you are seeing the lower courts now doing. This person also said, Donald Trump, this is what happens to Christians when they defend themselves against Fulani terrorists. Since majority of the government arm is controlled by them, shame. The Fulanis are controlling Nigeria today. They've taken over all the northern parts of the country. You know, we have the northerners majority in the Senate. So the Senates are mostly the Fulanis. They are mostly in the House of Assembly. They are mostly in the military. They are mostly, you can see even the courts now are now playing, you know, to favor the Fulanis. Now, this person says Nigeria is not a country. Nnamdi Kanu was kind enough to name it zoo. Even a single Fulani Islamic terrorist is not on trial for killing. How long do they think this impunity will last? Another person here say, okay, sorry, I think that is all I want to take as regards to this reaction. But you can see Nigerians are saying that the Fulanis, upon all the killings they've been carrying out, none of them is undergoing any prosecution. None of them have been sentenced to death. But if you dare try to defend yourself against the Fulanis, you risk being sentenced to death by a competent judge or court who sentence you to death. So guys, this country has been taken over by the Fulanis, and that is why fighting insecurity is going to be very difficult. Tinubu himself is not even helping out, because his body language shows he does not have the political will to dare the Fulanis, because for him, they might buy him or they might kill him. He's scared. So guys, that's what is happening in Nigeria. If you can also remember this headline, President Tinubu's wife, Remi, deserves to be killed by Muslims for being leader of infidels, says Islamic cleric. This is when Tinubu came into power newly. Somebody from the north, a cleric, said that Remi Tinubu does not deserve to live. If an Igbo man had made that statement, do you know what would have happened to the person? But a northerner made this kind of strong statement, saying that the president's wife does not deserve to live. Until today, that person walks freely. That person is not answerable to any court. That person is not being prosecuted. These are the things we are saying. You know, judgment in Nigeria is based on your faith, based on your region. I mean, the whole places has been captured and taken over by the Fulanis. You see, they invaded Oyo State in Ibadan. They killed forest guards. They killed people there. Terrorists came out from the bush, killed people and ran back into the bush. Until today, nobody has been captured. So guys, let me know what you think about all this in the comment section below. Please don't forget to subscribe to the channel and turn on the bell notification for more. Thank you.
Now, Charles, we seem to be a long way from achieving security in the nation. I mean, I believe what was responded here was that there's been a deployment of additional intelligence operatives alongside tactical teams and mobile personnel. But I'm interested in knowing what your take is about this.
deployment of intelligence and tactical teams after the fact of the matter. I mean, that smacks of lack of strategic thinking, especially in areas of high security vulnerability. The task of the forest rangers is actually to protect the communities and the forest and clear them of bandits and bandit activity. That's why the forest rangers were established in the first place. This time around, the forest rangers appear to be on the back foot. That looks to me like some sort of reprisal attacks. More like, you are there to prevent our activities. You are there to attack us. You are there to flush us out. So let's test our strength against yours. So that kind of attack is what you describe as a smash and grab. Hit and run, something like that.
Now, the police have spoken out and actually said that preliminary reports indicate that the attackers were about 12 in number, and they emerged from adjoining bushes.
Exactly.
And they opened sporadic gunfire on the Rangers' office before they fled.
Absolutely. That's the point I'm making, that it is the Rangers who are actually supposed to be going after the attackers.
That's right.
That is their job. That's the reason why they were set up in the first place. They are the ones who are now under siege. So can you imagine the irony? So, okay, fine. So time to employ the tactical and intelligence teams, meaning that this time around they feel that they are outnumbered and outgunned, so they have to also recourse to the routine regular security services for armed tactical and intelligence support. So it means to a large extent that the training of the Rangers probably did not take into consideration the firepower and tactical acumen of the people whose activities they are supposed to curtail. Now, that's that. But at least there is an effort in that part of the country aimed at containing the activities of the bandits. The story also says, and it's also in the other dailies too, that the chief of army staff is there, visited Niger State,
yes,
where the area, particularly those remote areas, seem to have come under siege. I was in Papiri during the Christmas week. The very next week, bandits attacked the community next to Papiri. That's talking about, excuse me, the name has just slipped me now. Anyway, the bandits attacked the very next community to Papiri. Kaswan Daji, now I remember. Kaswan Daji, and you know what? They took their time. If you look at the footage, rounded up over 40 people, tied their arms behind their backs, and for goodness sake, slaughtered them like sheep. And I kept saying it, that these people are so vulnerable that it won't take anything. They will come into those communities, do whatever they want to do, and casually stroll away, and nothing will happen. The story being that, of course, the residents raised alarm, but the nearest security base was miles away, I think 60 kilometers away.
And that's what I wanted to mention about the remoteness of these areas. And then the number of guards or rangers that they would have in that area does not translate to what is needed, to the remoteness of the land.
By comparison, the areas in the southwest, where the attack on the Rangers occurred, is not as remote compared to what you have in Niger State. That's why I said at least a token effort was made in the southwest, in Oyo State, to actually contain the attacks of the bandits. Unfortunately, it is not the same. There is no effort at all. No anticipatory effort. There are no rangers, no vigilante groups, nothing. The people are just there as sitting ducks. So I think the visit of the Chief of Army Staff to Niger State is actually very timely. But then also, those are proactive efforts, or rather, better reactive efforts should also be invested in the southwest as well. But over there in Niger State, I think it is time to provide a security blanket for those remote communities. See, Benga, remoteness is not even the issue. It's about the protection of the people's lives and property, regardless of where they are found in this country.
Okay, just to add to it, I think more fundamentally, we have largely ungoverned spaces that people are left. That exposes their vulnerability, and that's why we see sights of innocent children brought into harm's way. And when we look at that, just some couple of weeks ago, we saw the U.S. launching a precision strike.
Yes.
In line with international rule of engagement, the next thing would have been a mop-up, a prompt and swift mop-up by the Nigerian government. We can't sit back and allow the U.S. government to do all these things for us. And that's why there's one line that was very instructive. What's the guarantee that this bandit, this terrorist element will not come back to the area to strike? So coming back to the Oyo attack, the National Park attack, that's a strategic monument and relic area at Isheyin, which is about 2 hours to Ibadan. So we are still talking about that recurring narrative of an ungoverned spaces, because when you go to those areas, when you leave Ibadan, it's as if life ends there, and you see the primitive nature, and that still exposes the vulnerability of people living in that area. You could recall that from the eyewitness account, they said they launched a coordinated attack. Even the response from the police command still had some conflicting figures and uncertainty about the casualty figure. So that tells us about our poor security architecture in those kind of areas. Remember in 2014, Gordon Brown, the UK Prime Minister, initiated this Safe School initiative. What has been done? We keep shouting, we keep we keep making this distress call here every day about the need for perimeter for fencing, about the need for community group security initiative. Those were the critical elements of the Safe School.
It's ironic you say that. You know, we just took a report on some schools that were just opening after the ones that were closed in December. So yes, to bolster your point.
It seems, what's the sincerity?
Right.
The president declared security emergency just about a month ago. So what has been done in concrete terms, in terms of recruitment, the massive recruitment that was promised? We've not seen any security agency, because when you are talking about this massive recruitment, you have to talk about the gazetted allocation. Does the budget really support that that mass recruitment that the federal government is talking about? So that's how you know when there is no funding structure, when we have a situation where there is a cacophony of budgetary structure, it brings that sloppy response to governance, and it's rather unfortunate.
Very pertinent points there, Benga. Now, unfortunately, we have to move on with the dailies. Let's have a look at what's happening in Vanguard. Now, it says their 2027 PDP faction to hold talks with Obi and Atiku. It also says that the ADC has responded with taunting remarks saying, wooing Atiku and Obi to where? They have said they are ready to work with like minds to rescue Nigeria. Now, Atiku's camp has actually said that the ADC, not the PDP, is the way forward. Benga, are these desperate times?
Very important question. I would just like to complete that question. Wooing Atiku and Obi to where?
Yes.
It was actually, the person who said that was actually referring to actually completed it by saying that who would sign their nomination form, because the PDP lacks the structure for who exactly is recognized to sign the nomination form. Neither the Turaki faction nor the Abdurrahman faction in PDP is recognized. And this, yesterday we highlighted what will trail the 2026 electoral bureau roadmap to the next year's election. And we said that there will be a lot of horse trading. Now they are beginning to look at the vote bank now. Peter Obi had 6 million votes. Atiku Abubakar had also over 6 million votes. So when you combine the two together, it brings an equation. But what is missing in that link is that when Peter Obi had that 6 million vote, because it was voted in consideration that it was gunning for the presidential ticket.
Yes.
So now merging it together in politics, 1 + 1 would not be 2.
Now, Benga, you are presuming that Peter Obi would be tipped to run as Atiku's vice president What about the other way around?
Well, it's one of the possibilities.
Well, speaking about...
We know that Atiku, who ran for 2007 election, he ran for 2015 election, 2019 election, 2023 election, is an uncompromising hard line.
You say you're talking about vice presidential candidates. Yeah. Earlier we held a report, and it was in one of the dailies as well, how the vice presidential candidate of the Labour Party of 2023, Dati Baba Ahmed, is also hinting at his wanting to throw his hat in the ring. What do you say about that?
That will make a very, very interesting combination.
Absolutely.
Remember back in 2019, I believe, Atiku Abubakar ran as president. Peter Obi ran on the same ticket as his running mate in the People's Democratic Party. Now, fast forward to 2023, Peter Obi ran as candidate on the platform of the Labour Party, and Dati Baba Ahmed ran as his running mate, as his vice presidential candidate. Now, Dati Baba Ahmed, who ran as, so you know, it's a pattern. Those who ran as vice presidential candidates now came up to run as presidential candidates now. All right, that's the fun side of it, so to say. But I think Nigeria's political space is getting more and more interesting. You know, when we talked about the People's Democratic Party yesterday, when we mentioned them, you know, we actually stuck with one faction, not considering the fact that it's factionalized now. We have two factions in the PDP. It is one of these factions that seems to want to woo Atiku Abubakar and Peter Obi as you know, its candidate. But you see, that's a party that is factionalized. So
yes,
are these gentlemen going to be attracted by a party like Benga said lacks, you know, the structures to successfully run a presidential campaign? I mean, they seem to be acting based on hope. You know, the story of President Jonathan actually aligning with one of the factions.
I was about to say this. Yes, I was about to say this.
The Turaki faction of the People's Democratic Party. Then there's the Abdurrahman faction that's running after Peter Obi and Atiku. I mean, of course, not necessarily in that order. So these are actually very interesting times for the People's Democratic Party. But right now, it is not going to be an attractive proposition for any candidate except one who actually is really, really intrepid.
I think it underscores the reality of the political expediency, because now it's obvious that the PDP now, when you look around, you hardly can see any formidable candidate. And what do I mean by formidable candidate? You talk about the war chest. Even though there is a legislation on campaign financing in which the Electoral Act, Section 91 and the Section 225 of the Constitution defines that placing a campaign limit of for presidential candidate and governorship candidate. But in a situation where those who have this proven war chest, the governors have largely defected to the APC. Right. There is a need to search for those who can sponsor other people's candidates, build a formidable structure. And so, hence, we are saying that kind of rapprochement with Atiku and Obi that have shown a symbolic move more than ever to be as part of ADC. So, it's obvious that for you to wrestle against a skillful politician like Bola Tinubu, you need a strong coalition. So, I don't know how they intend to do this, but PDP has shown that culture of historical resilience to tackle, to come at the last minute and contest for this space.
Now, but very quickly, I'm very interested to find out what your comments are about what Charles and I were just speaking about, this Turaki-led faction with the backing of former President Goodluck Jonathan.
Yeah, indeed. Let's not forget that about 2 weeks ago, INEC said that it cannot legitimately recognize the Turaki faction based on multiple and conflicting court judgments, because we have the Federal High Court judgments in Abuja and we have the Oyo court judgments. So now, you said there is a meeting with President Jonathan. Unfortunately, if that indicates or if that kind of hints about the possible throwing his contest his hat in the ring, that's talking about former President Jonathan, there is still also a legal case, because according to Section 137, subsection 1 of the Constitution, it states the number of limits which it seems it has exceeded. But I think at some point there was a court judgment that cleared him of that, but that does not put a final closure on his legitimate status to contest as a candidate for the election. So that would be tested in the court of law. And I don't think that you want to bring too much uncertainty in a race as crucial as a race for the presidency come 2027.
Benga, let's face it, the People's Democratic Party, in spite of its storied and historic resilience, is a house divided against itself. It is split right down the middle, and there doesn't seem to be any hope of any compromise in the not too distant future. And you know how our legal system works. I mean, it is so burdened that cases drag on for so long. And of course, you know, the filing of injunctions and counter injunctions, and then you have to move from, you know, the federal to the appeal to the Supreme Court. It takes time.
Yeah,
do they have the luxury of time
if you
to
look
fix
at what,
this problem?
Okay. If you look at what Dati Baba Ahmed said yesterday, the man that has just made himself available to run on the platform of the Labour Party, he called the opposition party disgruntled elements. So that's usually what happens in the party. So because the fly in the ointment would be the race for political survival, which comes in the empirical form as the race for tickets. So once those gladiators miss out in getting their ticket, there is a possibility of coming to PDP or ADC as another viable option.
Well,
so
I'm sure
politics, there's nothing cast in stone.
I'm sure we have not heard the last of this. There's going to be many more updates coming up. Let's move on to the international stories making the top headlines. We have U.S. seizes Russian oil tanker that is linked to Venezuela. Now, it seems like there's a global fallout here. Basically, the United States Energy Secretary, and this is the latest update that we've had this morning, Chris Wright, has confirmed that the U.S. will be controlling Venezuela's oil output indefinitely. My goodness. Now, proceeds from all oil will be now deposited into U.S. bank accounts, then be distributed to the people of Venezuela. Donald Trump has said that he will personally control the billions of dollars that will come from the sale of the oil. Keywords, he will personally control. Now, this comes as the U.S. seized a Russian oil tanker in the Atlantic and another in the South Caribbean. Now, Russia has reacted to this. They are definitely not happy. The Russian Transportation Ministry put out a statement saying, quote, "No state has the right to use force against vessels that are properly registered to the jurisdiction of other nations under the 1982 UN Convention on the Law of the Sea." Now, the UK has also confirmed helping the US in this mission. It seems like this issue is becoming more and more dicey with each day. Gentlemen, what do you think about the US controlling these potential billions of dollars? Donald Trump personally having control.
Now,
is this legal?
When you look at the prevailing reality of the American system, the internal reality is a polity that is hugely indebted, external debt, to about 36 trillion US dollars. So now when President Trump says it's going for America's first policy, he was talking about the economic survival
but
of
surely
the US
we
state.
thought in a legal
way.
way.
Now, you know that over the years, Venezuela has been trading in US currency now. And now it's like
the petrodollar.
The petrodollar. So it's like now an attack on the very root of the American, the very root and foundation of the American economy. So when you see such a situation now, the Russia interest now is to bypass that dollar flow that strengthens the U.S. currency, and now they'll be trading in different currency. So that will be seen as a direct attack for a country as for a leader of a country that is as rambunctious as President Trump. So he's not joking about, and the same approach is taken to Greenland. You can see the desperate measures coming up with saying that he's ready to put amount is ready to settle for a deal to purchase Greenland. And the Denmark authorities and the autonomous authorities
Let's
of Greenland are
finish this one
saying
first
that
before
it's
we
not
go
for
to
sale.
the Denmark
So when you
one.
look
Yes.
at it, a country that is hugely indebted to about $36 trillion is certainly and has that political and military might to search for options for its political survival, for its economic survival. It's now in a desperate bid.
But Russia is an ally of Venezuela.
Let me add this this point that we're also overlooking. Now that America is involved in Venezuelan oil exports, that has actually now led to a drop in the international value of crude oil, dropped by 1.17% from about $60 per barrel to about $56.46 per barrel. Yes, from $60.56 a barrel to $56.46 per barrel. Now you see the multiplier effect is that it is going to affect the Nigeria's budget, which was predicated on about $65 per barrel. Now it has fallen. So the current oil price threatens Nigeria's budget implementation, as it is lower than the 2026 budget benchmark of $64.85 per barrel. That is found in the Guardian newspaper. So, it is actually having what you call a multiplier effect on the global economy.
Absolutely. Now, speaking of a multiplying effect, I want to tie in the story that I had just briefly cut you on, Benga, because I wanted to get both your reactions on this U.S. to take over Greenland, because there was also a major update a few hours ago where Denmark says, we are going to shoot first and ask questions later if the U.S. invades. Your comments?
Well, rhetorics are quite part of international politics. So you find every... No, because you are talking about the most powerful nation militarily. It depends on the statistics. Some will say Pakistan is also high up there in order. So they know that they are dealing with Trump. So I think that statement, that posture is in cognizance of the kind of person that Trump is. Look at... nothing much has happened to North Korea's threat now, because they know the leader of North Korea also has that same rambunctious and youthful exuberance. So if you don't come up with that posture that you can match the U.S., that there can be balance of terror in this kind of exchange.
So the reason why I'm saying it's not just rhetoric
so much vulnerability
is because there's a rule from 1952 in Denmark that requires soldiers to actually immediately counterattack forces without awaiting orders. So this is not an empty threat. This is something that the people of Denmark have in their law. And this as well threatens
presuming
NATO.
That America, the United, that rule was made taking into consideration what conventional warfare.
Yes.
That is, if it presupposes that America will come in with ground troops.
Exactly.
No, that's not going to happen.
And it's also
the architecture of warfare has changed entirely. The drones are there.
But you haven't spoken about NATO. NATO is at threat
actually saber-rattling because it actually believes that they have the might of NATO behind them. I don't think
both Denmark
the leaders
and
of the
the
North
US
Atlantic
are in
Treaty
NATO.
Organization will sit and fold their arms and watch Denmark being overrun like that. Benga did talk about the balance of power or the balance of terror. And of course, you see, the US versus NATO, is Trump actually willing to take that risk? Because it definitely will be a very expensive one. It will it will actually prompt a global shift of alliances. Who knows? NATO might simply shift allegiance to Russia, and then we have
another story on our hands.
That's it.
Now, very quickly, gentlemen, one more story before we close the segment. ICE officials have fatally shot a woman, a 37-year-old woman at point-blank range in Minneapolis. Now, this woman was murdered by an ICE agent, and ICE is actually an immigration and customs enforcement agency in the U.S. Now, apparently, the agent came up to her window and shot her, and the Homeland Security is saying that she attempted to run him over, but there was video footage showing that this indeed was not the case. If you look at your screen now, you'll see the officer approaching the woman's window, of which she tries to drive away. Now, please note that this woman is an American citizen, and when she tries to drive, that's when he opens fire. Very quickly, in less than 30 seconds, any comments you have, gentlemen?
Let me give that to Charles.
You see, sometimes I wonder if ICE has actually been given a mandate to use deadly force.
Yes, they have.
Exactly. So, but then it's when they're under threat.
Yes.
So when you say you shot a woman through her car window in self-defense, when it is an unarmed woman, or maybe they could make the case that the car she was driving was now her weapon, but still it's not a firearm. She was trying to escape, not attempting to run
That's right.
the man
Very good point.
over. So, see, this argument will not stand in court at all. The ICE officer was wrong. He committed what you call jungle justice, where it was not even necessary. That was extrajudicial killing, and I'm sure there'll be consequences.
So guys, let me quickly take you through some of the headlines on the social media. The US is warning of possible military strike in Nigeria. So guys, this warning for me, I don't really like this warning. When I saw the headline, I'm like, what are you warning? You are not supposed to be warning. You are supposed to have told you are supposed to have told us you just bombed them. Because why warning when you know that Christians are dying every day, Donald Trump? You know, why warning? Why? It is high time. Nigerians are long expecting that the US really come to eat their aid. You don't just come here and you struck the terrorists, and because of that strike, the terrorists have been going all over the places, spying people, and you are just giving warning. I don't really think at this time we need warning. We just want that airstrike to happen. Because, see, enough of all this. Since the last strike that the US struck Nigeria, guess what? These guys have gone out there to scatter everywhere, killing people as if life doesn't matter again in Nigeria. And people have long expected that the US come to their aid. I mean, if the US want to destroy these terrorists, please stop this announcement. Just go on and strike these people. You have evidence that people are being killed every day, and you are telling us that the US is warning. I don't really think it makes any sense at this moment. I mean, now, I want us to take a look at the way Nigerians have reacted to that headline. But for me, I'm like, we are already fed up. In short, for me, I don't even think like that news is real news again. As in, the US is coming, the US is coming. When are they going to come? You know, this by Sahara reporter says US warns of further US airstrikes in Nigeria over attacks on Christians. Please, this is long overdue, Donald Trump. Now, let's see how Nigerians are reacting. Southern Kaduna, in Nigeria, Southern Kaduna, Ningi Kaku, 7 kidnapped, 1 killed. Gajuga, 6 kidnapped, 2 killed. Kabari, 53 kidnapped, 4 killed. Damai Kogi, 3 kidnapped, 1 killed. Fadan Rishiwa, 8 kidnapped, 2 killed. Kagadama, 6 kidnapped, 1 killed. Fagenrawa, 3. So this is what is happening in Southern Kaduna. I don't really think Donald Trump, we don't really want this kind of headlines again. Portus, please be quick. Nothing has changed. As a matter of fact, it's getting worse. Trump is looking for another thing. We can all see what he's doing in Venezuela. Please, Trump, come and take the oil. Just give us peace. That's what I stand for. This person says, is this man using Nigeria as a testing ground for his bombs? I'm not sure what kind of agreement the authorities had with him. The last batch they shot had 4 that failed to detonate, and those are still missing with no trace. Now he's planning to shoot more. This person is saying, is America using Nigeria as a testing place for its bombs? that some failed to detonate the last time. And this was okay, Trump should wait because Northern Islam has warned him of their mosquito. And this other person says, so now Donald Trump has suddenly discovered love for Nigeria and concern for Christians, and he's already threatening possible strikes. We have heard this song too many times from Western politicians who remember Africa only when it serves their interest. Me, I don't like people talking about interest. So Donald Trump should come now. Until all the monsters are wiped out, there should be no rest for them. This one, Baba. Now only 1 or 2 bombs you don't drop now. Drop more bombs, I beg. If now all be problem, come Bayelsa, we get plenty to give you. B. Donald Trump, Bayelsans are saying come and take oil and save Nigeria. This president Netanyahu, Your Excellency, please join forces with Trump White House and help save Nigerian Christians. This is L.A. Mike's Bastille Road. Do not know when to stop, and if they are not stopped, Christians in Nigeria will go into extinction, as it's already happening in some northern villages. I mean, this is a please come now and help us, Donald Trump. Not just strikes. The crude oil and other resources are under the control of criminal gangs and drug barons. Please do to them what you did to Maduro. Make it swift, please, Donald Trump. Hey, please, Donald Trump should come. This person say, let him stupidly stop warning and come fast. People are dying daily. Let them stop this rubbish. I will. Let them start. Honestly, we are tired of this. I will. We are tired of I will, Raimo and Ted Cruz. We are tired of when is Trump really coming. Every day there's massacre of Christians. Lo, man just needs oil desperately. If not, why can't he support Peter Obi, who has the capacity to stop insecurity in Nigeria? This person says that means Nigerian government forces have stopped going after them. As earlier promised, Trump should not give any warning again. And this person is saying that in all this, Tinubu has never reacted to America's stuff personally, only presidency and his only minions. This person, Ogadona Nwa Trump, after the show, come and take a plate of Nkwobi with 7 bottles of Tombo for the job well done. Portis, why press the button, please? Just press the button, please. No warning needed. We are expecting non-stop strikes from Trump against the terrorists until all kisses the ground. Trump, focus your attention on your country where the security agencies are killing people like chicken. Bunch of hypocrites. Who is saying this one? This person says, sir, no need to warn. Make sure you target the terrorists and their sponsors. Eliminate them. Gun ablaze them as soon as possible. We need strikes again. We don't need strikes again. We have a Muslim president, Muslim vice. What do you expect? We don't need strike. This person says, Nigeria, I love you, Donald Trump. Keep doing the work of God. Donald Trump, Baba, touch them hand ruggedly. He is wasting time. I'm tired of Trump saying he's coming. Honestly, I'm just tired of Trump saying he's coming. He doesn't need to give a warning. He can do what he did the other day. Have no mercy on terrorists. Nigeria isn't Venezuela. So these are reactions from Nigerians. This one said, this one will be the end of all of you. Leadership failure got us here. He should come quick. I hope this will not fail like the previous ones. Stop warning, just do it. O ye brethren, I beseech you this morning, make una show me way. Tinubu, no come back to Nigeria. So guys, these are reactions from Nigerians on this headline from Sahara Reporter saying that Trump said there's going to be another possible airstrike in Nigeria. Actually, another headline captured it saying, breaking news, President Trump warns the U.S. could launch additional military strikes in Nigeria if attacks on Christians community continue. The attacks are already there, Trump. What are you waiting for God's sake? What are you waiting for? I mean, Poor Nigerians are waiting for election. Why can't you ask for a referendum every year? New promises, you still suffer. You are still suffering, even dying for nothing by some motherfucker. But a bunch of fools, you choose to be slave. Nigeria is a disgrace. Okay, this person is saying it's better to divide Nigeria than to continue. And then junketing President Tinubu spends 6.1 billion on foreign trips in 2026. To spend 6.1 billion, hey, 2026, Jehovah, going to work, going to France. Trump warns of possible airstrikes. Tinubu to spend money that will be enough. Hey, Peter Obi just hammered Tinubu that he spent how much, just to buy presidential jet. And now Tinubu is now going now to, hey God, going to spend more money, It's really, 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 really sad. Really, really sad what is happening in Nigeria. Anyway, guys, I don't know what you make of this, that Trump is coming with another strike, and Nigerians are saying, why is Trump warning the terrorists? He should just come and hit them hard without any pre-information, because giving them information is like you giving them intelligence. Anyway, guys, let me know what you think about this, what is happening currently in Nigeria. What's your thoughts about Trump coming to strike the terrorists? Don't you think it's long overdue? It's long overdue. Anyway, guys, let me know your thoughts in the comment section below. Please don't forget to subscribe to the channel and turn on the bell notification for more updates. Thank you.